Yeah, so in this video, I'm going to show you with GMM and using the pen tool how to find the measure of angles given a picture. So let's take a look at the first example. We're supposed to find angle BKR. Now, angle BKR is here. So it's this opening. And I know that that angle right there plus this angle here has got to equal 180. They're supplementary angles. So I'm going to take each of these two angles. Well, we don't know the measure, but we do know an expression that equals the measure. So 8R plus 87 plus the second angle, 8R plus 125. We're going to set up an equation equal to 180 because they're supplementary. All right, so I have my equation set up. I need to combine the like terms. So I have 16R, and I add the numbers together. That would give me 212, still equal to 180. Of course, to solve for R, and I'll show you what to do after that. All right, so I completed the algebra, subtracting 212 on both sides, then I divide by 16 on both sides, and I found that R equals -2. Lots of mistakes can be made in those steps, so watch out for adding correctly, watch out for subtracting correctly, any division, any negative signs. So R is -2. We're supposed to find the angle measure. So R is just a variable. So we got to take that measure, let me see if I can change the color here, and take that R and substitute in for R in this angle, BKR. Make sure you're substituting in for the correct angle. If I do it in the other angle, I'll get an incorrect measurement. So let's take that 8R plus 87 and replace the R with a -2. So the 8 times -2, I use parentheses when I substitute in numbers when we're multiplying. Plus 87, so 8 times -2 is -16, plus 87 is 71. So the missing measure is 71 degrees. So I want to type that in my box right here on my computer. If I can tap it in there, let's go. What do we have? 71, and hit enter. Boom, it works. Now let me erase these marks and I'll do a second problem with you. All right, this next problem, we're supposed to find the measure of angle HDC. Now look at my picture. I see three angles. I see two smaller angles and a bigger angle. And that bigger angle is a right angle. You can see by the little right angle box that's down here. We're supposed to find angle HDC. HDC is the bottom or the right smaller angle, which is 6y plus 84. So I got to figure out what y is in order to find out the measure. So like we did in the last problem, we're going to set up an equation, but this time the two angle measurements, the 6y plus 84 and the 6y plus 54, have to add up to be 90 degrees. Because here we have complementary angles. They form a right angle. Let me set up the equation. All right, so there's our equation. Combine the like terms, 12y. Combine the numbers together, it'll be 138. Now, it just so happens when I subtract 138, I do get a negative. We had a negative answer before in the last equation, in the first example in this video. It's not always going to happen. It's not always going to be negatives. But in this case, when we divide by 12, we get y by itself. We get -4. I take that -4, substitute in. So I get 6 times -4, 6 times -4. It's supposed to be a -4, pretty sloppy, plus 84. You know, use that old handy-dandy calculator, tap that in, and you end up with a positive 60. So 60 degrees should be my answer. All right, got it? I'm not sure why the smileys didn't, rain down, but it was correct. So I'm going to move on to the next one. And that's it for the video. Hopefully you understand how you do these problems. Just be careful. Some of them add up to be 180. Some of these add up to be 90. Do your best.